Hello. Today we are going to see a new story from your English Balbharati textbook. So, are you ready? That's great. It's a story about an ugly duckling. I hope you read this and you learn this and you come to know about the different things that life can bring to you. A story of a duckling who was very sad. And then, what happens by the end of the story is all that you should know. So, don't go anywhere, pay attention, and here comes the story for you.
Lesson number 19, The Ugly Duckling. Mother Duck was really proud of her six new ducklings. They were soft, fluffy, and yellow. Such fine little ducklings. But the seventh one was very different. It was bigger, and its feathers were grey and shaggy. It looked so ugly. All the same, Mother Duck thought, "It's my baby duckling." She loved it dearly. But the other six brothers and sisters didn't like the ugly duckling. When it waddled towards them, they turned their backs and ran away. The little duckling would go for a swim every day to a lake nearby. The ugly duckling wanted to join the others, but they didn't want him. They always swam away from him. He was left all alone. The duckling swam better than the other ducklings, which did not please them at all. They teased him about his ugliness. His only friend was his mother. The other ducks told his mother, "All your ducklings are smart, but this big fellow looks so different. Why is he so ugly?" His mother only said, "He is mine and I love him too." At last, feeling very lonely and sad, the ugly duckling decided to leave the lake. He made his way to the river's edge and swam away with the river. Wherever the poor duckling tried to seek shelter, he found that he was always ridiculed by others. Smaller birds, animals, even human beings poked fun at him. He became lonelier and more miserable. By and by, he grew bigger and stronger. But whenever he looked at his own reflection, he thought, "I look so ugly." He was afraid to look at his own reflection. He hid himself if he saw anyone coming. One day, when he was hiding among the reeds, he saw a flock of graceful white swans swim past. They were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. "How wonderful to be like them," he said to himself. Then came winter. With cold winds and snow, without any shelter, the poor duckling was frozen in the snow. A kind man saw him. He broke the snow and saved the duckling. Soon it was spring. The duckling had now gained a lot of strength. Again, he found his way to the river's edge and swam further. One fine morning, when he flipped his wings against his sides, he rose high into the air. He flew on till he found himself in a beautiful, fragrant garden. From a thicket close by came three beautiful white swans, rustling their feathers and gliding lightly over the smooth water. The duckling remembered the lovely birds. He was afraid to meet them, but he felt a strange longing to be with them. He made up his mind to approach them, no matter how badly they treated him later on. He swam towards the beautiful birds and bowed his head down to the surface of water. And what did he see in the clear stream below? His only image, no longer a dark, grey, ugly bird, but a graceful and beautiful swan. The other swans swam round the newcomer and welcomed him. The bird that had lived a miserable life as an ugly duckling was a swan after all. He curved his slender neck and cried joyfully, from the depth of his heart. I never dreamed of such happiness as this while I was an ugly duckling. So you see, we think that this duckling is very ugly, and then nobody talks to him, everybody just runs away from him. His brothers and sisters, they don't care for him. The only one who's always with him is his mother. But later on he comes to know that nobody loves him, so what does he do? He just leaves everybody and goes away. So when he moves away, goes to another place, he swims with the river. He finds himself very lonely. He has nobody with him, no friends. Anybody who sees him, they keep him names. They don't talk to him. And then he's left all alone, very, very lonely. He moves to other places, and then once going somewhere, what happens? There is a snowfall. And during that snowfall, he is caught into the snow. And a kind man sees him. He helps him out and he breaks the snow all around him, and the duckling is freed because of this kind man. Then he goes further, and as he moves further, he sees from a garden some swans. Now, swans are different and ducklings are different. Duckling means badak, and swan means rajhans. Okay, they are quite bigger, whiter, and more beautiful than the ducklings. So, this swans, when he sees, he feels that he should go and talk to them, but then he remembers that he is not so beautiful and pretty, so maybe they'll not talk to him. That's why he just keeps away from them. He sees all the swans, they are swimming so nicely. He feels like he should just go and talk to them, but he does not do it. And then he just hides himself in the tall grass and sees. He just looks at them. He feels that they are very pretty. But then one day, what does he do? When he sees them again, he says, now let it be. Whatever happens, let it happen. But I will go and talk to them. So as he goes into the river, he sees his own reflection. And when he sees his reflection, he is surprised to see that he is not an ugly duckling, but he has now become a beautiful swan. Now, the question here is, how can a duckling be a swan? So here what we see is, by mistake, when mother duck laid the eggs, in those eggs, one egg was of the swan. It is not that mother duck gave birth to the swan, but by mistake the egg was of swan, and then all the eggs broke, and then they came to know that one of them is a swan. But in the beginning it looked very ugly, so nobody talked to him. But later in the story we discover that he was a swan. We can learn one thing from this story is, we should not be sorry for what we are. We should be happy with what God has made us, and no matter how people treat us, we should be satisfied with our life, and we should be happy with what we have. I hope the lesson is clear to you. Copy all the hard words and write them down neatly in your notebook.